Hi, I'm Dave Lippett. On behalf of San Diego, America's finest city, I'd like to welcome you to the 21st running of the Miller Cup.
Mission Bay in San Diego, the specially designed Bill Munsey Memorial Water Race Course, considered the fastest in the world. This is the end of one of the most competitive seasons in unlimited racing. 3 drivers have a shot at the national championship. The current points leader, Chip Hanauer, who has rewritten the record book and today can rewrite powerboating history. It would be the first time a turbine-powered boat won the national championship. He's the odds-on favorite. He's won 5 of the last 6 races. The pressure on Hanauer and his crew has been tremendous this week. Salt, water, and turbines don't mix. The other drivers, the fans, and Hanauer must be thinking back to last year. Hanauer, in the blue and white hull of his former sponsor, at the bottom of your screen, is chasing down the eventual race winner Jim Kropfeld when the turbine goes. Hanauer has planned his strategy accordingly.
Well, we have to be conservative running for the national championship. It would be very foolish of us to go out and trying to win an elimination heat and break something that would knock us out of the race entirely. So until we get the national championship sewed up, we're going to play a pretty conservative game. With a little luck, we'll make it to the final heat with the national championship sewed up. At that point, I can just go ahead and let her rip.
Scott Pierce won the first race of the season in Miami and has been a consistent performer. He's enjoying his best year as an unlimited driver and trails Hanauer by a mere 731 points. 400 points are awarded for a first place finish, 300 for second, and so on down the line. We know Pierce will race at least 3 times today. He knows he's outmanned and is looking for help from the saltwater gods of Mission Bay.
Well, we personally feel that the harder that they have to run in the saltwater, the worse it is for them, and the less of a chance that they'll finish the 5 laps. So our plan is to get out in front, go like a bandit, make them come and chase us down and run harder than they want to run and hopefully not finish.
Steve Reynolds in the other turbine-powered boat won the 34th running of the Indiana Governor's Cup and has an outside shot at the national championship.
I have to win all 3 of my heats, and the Miller American has to finish none. And then the Executone has to have some problems or finishing second. There's an outside chance.
Last year, Jim Kropfeld won his first national championship here at Mission Bay, but had a close call. That's his boat literally flying over Chip Hanauer. This season, the Bernie Little team has been working the bugs out of a new hull. Notice the difference. It has an enclosed safety cockpit. Their problem started the first time they turned the ignition. There's no national championship for Kropfeld this year, but the defending race champion would love to play the part of the spoiler.
This was the very first place that I raced was in San Diego, and after a year that we've had, it would be nice to come out on top here and beat the other hot boats around.
From Mission Bay in San Diego, it's the Miller High Life Thunderbolt Regatta, brought to you by Miller Beer. Miller made the American way since 1855. And by Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality, always has, always will. And by Autolite Spark Plugs. If Autolite's on it, there's copper in it. For a boat and driver to race in an unlimited sanctioned event, they must first qualify with a minimum speed of 105 miles per hour around the 2.5-mile course. Then the driver must accumulate enough points in 2 qualifying heats to earn his way into the winner-take-all final. The only boat that didn't make the field was Jim Grader's Handyman Stores, driven by veteran Ron Snyder. 6 boats have earned their way into the championship heat, including Chip Hanauer, and you're watching a victory celebration for Chip and Lucero Munsey team. Earlier, Hanauer won the first heat of the day and locked up the national championship and wrote a new page in the Unlimited history book. It's an absolutely beautiful San Diego day. Hello, everyone. I'm Ed Dubrow, and with me today is Lee Shaineth, a 3-time national champion in this sport and a former commissioner. Well, Lee, what about the water conditions today?
Ed, thus far it's been fantastic, just great. The forecast is the same way. We should have excellent racing conditions the rest of the day.
At the start of the day, there were 3 that had a crack at the national championship, but Chip Hanauer shut the door in the very first heat.
Well, Chip went out in that first heat today, Ed, and won it convincingly, and that made him national champion without a doubt.
We'll show you Chip Hanauer winning the national championship and how the other 5 boats qualified for the winner-take-all finale as we get set for the 21st running of the Miller Cup. Welcome back to Mission Bay in San Diego. Ed Dubrow and Lee Shaineth, along with 300,000 encircling the Bill Munsey Memorial Water Race Course. What an exciting day of unlimited racing they've seen so far. Also with us today is Tom Deeth, who drives both turbine and piston unlimiteds. Tom, what's the mood in the pits as they make those last-minute adjustments for the upcoming championship race?
The feeling is really relaxed, Ed, in the pits. Chip Hanauer's got the national championship in his back pocket, and he's ready now to go for all the marbles in the final heat. But the piston guys, they're hoping that the salt water is going to affect the turbine engine and that they'll have a chance to win this final here in San Diego. Ed, back to you.
Thanks, Tom. 6 of these unlimiteds, half airplanes, half boats called hydroplanes, have qualified for the big race. Now let's show you how they got there. The highly anticipated Ryder Truck first heat of the day. That was supposed to be a showdown for the national championship between Chip Hanauer and Scott Pierce, who trailed at that time by only 731 points. Also in that heat, Todd Yarley and Mitch Evans, 2 very competitive young drivers. But as you know, Chip glided to his 3rd national championship, the first ever for a turbine-powered boat. Now don't confuse these with jet-powered boats. These unlimiteds have to have a propeller in the water as the only source to move the hydro. And we'll use this first lap for my colleague Tom Deeth to take us around the fastest water race course in the world.
As the boats come around, they head up for the start. There's all kinds of room to get straightened out to head to the clock. What the driver's doing now between the exit pin and the start is he's actually timing himself. He lifts the throttle sometimes or squeezes down a little bit harder to make that start perfect. After the start, he starts to concentrate on heading to the first turn and watching the positions of the other boats because he doesn't want to cut anyone off. As he gets closer to the entrance pin of the first turn, he sets the boat up into the corner and actually hangs it on the skid fin, which keeps the boat from sliding too much through the turn. We're going through the turn now, and you're really squeezing down real heavy on the throttle. Right at the apex of the corner, you're full into the throttle, all the way through the turn and off the corner. Now the boat accelerates down the backstretch, and there's where the driver has to start holding his breath a little bit because the boat starts running out of torque. Usually it gets a little bit light near the end of the straightaway, and you're running at this point now around 170 to 175 miles an hour. You're thinking all the time about the guy that's next to you and setting up for this turn, the next turn coming up. As you set the boat again, you're back on the skid fin, sliding through the corner. Then the same thing as in the upper turn. When you get to the apex, back hard on the throttle again, off the corner, giving the boat its head so that it actually accelerates faster by letting the boat drift a little bit wide. Then you're back on the front straightaway, heading for the start-finish line.
Now, if you'll excuse the pun, let's see what Chip Hanauer had to say after he salted away that history-making national championship.
We ran extremely conservative, and I think the whole heat was only 120 mile an hour average. I think we're capable of running 140 mile an hour average. So now we're free to go and race hard. The national championship is done, it's taken care of. Now we can go out and race. If it breaks, it breaks.
Well, Scott Pierce, first of all, I'd like to congratulate you. A great team effort throughout the year. You have to be pleased.
Well, we are. We finished second to a high-class operation in Miller Beer, and we congratulate them. But Executone increased their stock in the racing world immensely this year. We've finished higher one race, done more than the team's ever been able, or I've ever been able to do in the past. So it's a heck of a stepping stone, and we plan on being first next year, I can assure you.
Through the years, many have struggled with turbine power. Jim Lucero has made it productive. With change comes controversy. Let's hear how the other owners answered the question, to turbine or not to turbine.
Well, that is a good question. To answer that, I have to say to you that with our Rolls-Royce Merlin Griffin engines and with the limit of 2,650 horsepower for 1986 with the turbines, I think I might race them both just to find out for myself.
I believe turbines are. I believe they will eventually be a very reliable power source, which should have less breakdowns, obviously, and give a better show for the crowd.
Well, that's a question that gets a lot of discussion around it. It kind of looks like it's going to be turbine. I hate it in a way because I miss the noise. I think a lot of the fans miss the noise. But it's the coming thing. The speeds are there. The fans seem to enjoy it. And so I'd say in about 3 or 4 years, the sport will probably be all turbine.
Well, I think we need both. Turbines are here to stay for sure. They're not quite worked out on salt water yet, but the sport isn't quite progressed to all turbines yet. It may in the end, but then the gas motors may be put in lighter boats and still be competitive.
We've got a lot of mixed emotions, Ed. I don't really feel that the turbine engine and the reciprocating engine can run together competitively on the same course. I think the turbine is advanced technology that the reciprocating engine cannot compete with on an equal basis.
If you're going to run with the hot dogs, you're going to have to run a turbine. That's it.
Pistons or turbines? Turbines, of course. I grew up with pistons. I love pistons. I don't want to see them go, but if you can't beat the turbines, you've got to join the turbines. And that's what we're going to do.
Well, of course, the turbine engine took us completely out of really a competitive racing class, because where do you stop? Can you go at a 4,000, 5,000, or a 10,000 horsepower turbine? So we have limited for the years of 86 and 87 to a 2,650 horsepower limitation. And what this hopefully will do is continue to bring the competitive racing together with the turbine program as well as the piston program. I think with new piston boats, with a new high-tech hull, that they can be very competitive. And of course we are looking into automotive motors as well for our new boats.
The discussions have been long and heated, I assure you. Turbine or piston, we'll have to wait and see what the future holds. But for Chip Hanauer, the future is now. Here's a question for you trivia buffs. Who won the first unlimited race in a turbine-powered boat? It was young John Walters at Syracuse in 1982. And for 10 more points, who built and designed it? If you said Jim Lucero, you're right again. We televised that one, and the future looked bright for Walters and the turbines, but a few weeks later, Walters was involved in this near-fatal accident. A boat loses its rudder and turns wildly in front of Walters. At these speeds, Walters is a fraction of a second behind, hits the boat and flips. He's thrown out, and you can imagine what the impact was at that speed. The prognosis was not good, but they didn't know John Walters. He's now an integral part of the Muncie Lucero team. John remembers and savors that history-making day at Sampson State Park in New York.
Boy, do I remember it. Yeah, it was one of the most exciting points in my career. We'd all worked extremely hard for the better part of 2 years trying to make that dream come true. And when it finally happened, it was unbelievable for a while. And it was really not until the next morning that I was really able to look back on that and look at the videotapes and say, yep, we did it finally.
John Walters, the definition of a true champion. The second qualifying race featured Mystic Consistency, Jerry Hopp, and rookie Andy Coca, who drives the only conventional boat left on the circuit, along with defending race champion Jim Kropfelt and Steve Reynolds, who set a competition lap record of just under 138 miles an hour during this heat. Not only the jet age, but the computer age. Reynolds has a Hewlett-Packard computer aboard his turbine.
Well, Ed, these two buttons sitting right here on the steering wheel. Actually, when I push these buttons down, I give an indication on the computer readout that we have back in the truck, which can tell the crew chief and the crew exactly what the engine and the systems in the boat have been doing at all times on the race course. Never before have we been able to draw so much data about the hull, about the propeller, and about the engine, even to where the throttle setting is on specific points in the race course. Now we can retrieve all that information, and it has been a contributor to our success so far this year.
When Reynolds told the computer they were on salt water, the printout said tilt. Jim Kropfelt won the heat. In the last qualifying race, Hanauer on the right turned down the boost to conserve equipment. Mitch Evans won the race, his first ever. The field is set. Kropfelt, Hanauer, Pierce, Coker, Hopp, and Yarley. The boats are on the water, and we'll be back with the start of the championship race. Hello again, everyone. Ed Dubrow, Lee Shaneth, and Tom Deeth on hand at Mission Bay for the 21st running of the Miller Cup. Let's meet the six that are in the winner-take-all finale.
Hi, I'm Jim Kropfelt, driver of Miss Budweiser from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Hi, I'm Scott Pierce. I'm from Edmonds, Washington. I drive the Executone Telephones Unlimited hydroplane.
My name is Chip Hanauer. I drive the Miller America. I'm from Seattle, Washington.
Hi, I'm Todd Yarling. I drive the U-22 Miss Pride Air from Hanover, Indiana.
Hi, I'm Jerry Hopp. I drive the U-4 Oh Boy Alberto. I'm from Snohomish, Washington.
Hi, my name's Andy Coker. I drive the American Speedy Printing from Ching Group this week, and I'm from West Palm Beach, Florida.
Andy Coker is the second alternate. The hydros of Mitch Evans and Steve Reynolds were damaged and couldn't be repaired. We're moments away from the start of the championship race. The media, the fans, and even the competitors will show up at a tremendous happening like this San Diego race. Everything's in place. We take that for granted. It's hard to remember, but 4 short days ago, this was just Mission Bay, a mecca for water sports and sun worshipers, until John Daly and his army of volunteers went to work. This is our salute to the San Diego Committee and the thousands of volunteers at race sites across the country. The next time you use a Porta-John, remember how it got there. They're coming around toward the SeaWorld turn and will be heading for the start. A great shot of the mill. That means jockeying for the imaginary lane the driver would like to race in. Whoa, that was close. Jerry Hopp had the inside. Jim Kropfeld changed lanes. Todd Yarling did a masterful job of avoiding a catastrophe. At the top of your screen, that's Andy Coker waiting for the group. He's the second alternate. And that's Kropfeld making another great move to get inside of Scott Pierce. Heading for the start line. If they hit it too soon, they're penalized a lap. A super start. Kropfeld has the inside. That's the one he likes. Right on his hip is Scott Pierce. Hanauer has taken the turbine wide. Then it's Jerry Hopp, Todd Yarling, who's running without his wing, and Andy Coker. Hanauer has jumped out front. Kropfeld and Pierce are right there.
Chip is definitely standing on it going into the first turn. He's got to stay away from those rooster tails and keep that salt spray away from that turbine engine. He's on the outside in really good position, and he's neck and neck with Jim Kropfeld.
I'm a little surprised to see him so close because they've been having trouble with Jim Kropfeld's boat, trying to get it going. It's pushing very hard, but he and Chip are staying pretty well side by side in this first lap. And as you said, Scott Pierce is in this race also. He's watching both Jim and Chip go, but he's right on their tail, and he's going to keep pushing them hard too.
It's obvious that Kropfeld's strategy is to push Hanauer hard.
Well, that's really your only chance. You've got to get an excellent start, which Jim Kropfeld did. He's got Chip Hanauer on his outside, and he's got him really right where he wants him. If he can maintain his position and keep the pressure on, it's possible that Chip's boat will break.
The pre-race favorites battling deck-to-deck, defending race champion Jim Kropfeld on the inside, and Chip Hanauer, the 29-year-old former teacher of disadvantaged children. He won the national championship earlier today. And pushing both of them is Scott Pierce, having the best year of his unlimited career. Average speed on that first lap, just under 135 miles an hour. Excuse the expression, but that is flying, and faster than Kropfeld's top qualifying speed of 133. Hanauer leads by a boat length over Kropfeld. Then it's Pierce, Hopp, Yarling, and Coker. At these speeds, no one is that far out. 5 pistons, 1 turbine.
Well, this is definitely a good race because you got Jim Kropfeld and Chip Hanauer, 2 of the best drivers going head-to-head. And Kropfeld's on the inside. That's right where he wants to be. And Chip Hanauer on the outside.
And right where he wants him, Tom. Dead in the water, and you could read Chip's mind as he lost power. Whew. Glad I've locked up the national championship earlier in the day. Now Jim Kropfeld has taken the lead. It's his race to win or lose. Scott Pierce has moved to second and has Kropfeld in his sights. Average speed, second lap, just under 130 miles an hour. Gentlemen, we now have an old-fashioned race. 5 piston-powered boats going against each other. In the De Anza turn, Kropfeld about to put Todd Yarling a lap down. And let's give credit where credit is due. The turbine made history by winning the national championship, but Kropfeld and the Bernie Little team have struggled all year with this new hull.
Well, we have a brand new boat with the enclosed cockpit. He has a suit on with air conditioning in it. The cockpit's air conditioning. He's breathing oxygen. It's a radical change from what we've had in the past. It's a great step as far as the safety factor goes, and I think you might see more of this next year.
Well, Chip Hanauer definitely is all right. He waved his hands, which is a signal indicating that he's all right. Scotty Pierce is now in second place solid, and it looks like it's going to be a Jim Kropfeld race from here on in.
Average speed after 3 laps, just under 123 miles an hour. Kropfeld backing down to save his equipment. He's got to be careful. Scott Pierce trails by a little more than a mile. Translated, that means just a couple of seconds. Here in slow motion from another camera angle, we can see what happened to Hanauer's boat. Watch the back of the boat. See that object fly out? That's the propeller. That problem plagued the Muncie Lucero team all last year. In fact, all the teams started having prop problems because they were going so fast. Jim Kropfeld can coast to the checkered, and I get the feeling the Bernie Little team has this boat dialed in and are already thinking about the upcoming season, which kicks off in Miami. Jim Kropfeld makes it 2 in a row in San Diego. Scott Pierce, another consistent performance for second. Rookie Andy Coker made the most of his opportunity and takes third. Todd Yarling is fourth, and Jerry Hopp limps home to take fifth. 6 started, 5 finished. Chip Hanauer and his turbine won the season-long war, but this battle belongs to Jim Kropfeld and the winningest owner in Unlimited history, Bernie Little.
throughout the entire afternoon. No real amount of wind, but just a lot of swells, which is the worst enemy of unlimited hydroplane racers. Salt water and swelling, lumpy type water. Choppy water, no, but lumpy like this can really cause problems. Hanauer evidently sees the wing on the main straightaway that belongs to the Pringles. This is it. Chip Hanauer wins it. It's victory number 2 for the year, number 25 for his career, now tied with Dean Chenoweth, the former great Budweiser driver. Second place to Scott Pierce. Congratulations to him. And third place, what a day for Mike Hansen and Richie Sutphen's Spirit. Fran Muncy picking up her second victory in 1987. The Hulset crew, the boat now officially retired. Carol Hughes, Bob Hughes. That boat, the Hulset Mrs. Madison, they call it Mrs. because they're expecting a little one. A new boat in '88, and now the fun drive begins, trying to raise the money to build a new one for that community back in Indiana. There are the final results, and let's go down to the winner's circle. The Miller American team and Chip Hanauer with his 25th victory.
Chip, congratulations. Talk about finishing strong in '87, a Gold Cup, and now this one here in Las Vegas.
Well, there's just too many people to thank. I'm just the recipient of a lot of people that, you know, dedicate all their time and give up all their personal time to be with their families, to do things they enjoy, just so the Miller American can go out and win races. And as a group, I want to thank Stewart and Stevenson, who came to our rescue before the Gold Cup. And as you can see, our motors run okay. And this motor ran all day long. They never changed anything. I kept coming back, telling them it felt good, and they said, let her run. So everybody just did a great job. And I think the end of this year really is to be dedicated to the persistence of Fran Muncy. I tell you what, I'd hate to race against her.